I'm bringing you guys along on my first ever time eating dinner out by myself, and there was only one place I could go. Ever since I came here with Alistair, there has been one burger on the menu I have been desperate to try. So folks, tonight's the night. Welcome to my channel and another Eat Out With Me video, and I am in Monterey Jack's, but this time I'm by myself and I think I'm right underneath the speaker, so this could be interesting in terms of audio. I have ordered a large vanilla milkshake, the bacon blue burger and house fries. I won't be having a dessert because I think just having the main is enough of a challenge, but just in case you're interested, that's what they are. I was surprised by how quiet the restaurant was. I did think it would be busier. I know I eat dinner quite early, but I didn't think it was that much earlier than other people. This is the large vanilla milkshake, which, in my opinion, pretty good. I'll be back when the food arrives. I love the song. The burger, which smells amazing. And how cute is this little shopping basket of chips? My first time trying the Monterey Jack's house fries. The only criticism I would have is that whilst salt and ketchup were both available, it would have been great if there had also been some vinegar. Now, I probably could have asked for some, but I'll be completely honest, I had my phone on my stand set up filming myself. I did not want to draw yet more attention than I was already creating. So I just had them with salt and ketchup, but they were still good. The majority of this will have to be voiceover because the music is just so loud. I think I'm right under a speaker. The chips, amazing. I wasn't able to choose where to sit, and had I been, I would probably have chosen somewhere a bit more suitable for filming. But, you know, you've just got to make the best of what you get in life. I honestly do not know how to eat this. If I pick it up, it's going to go everywhere. I think when you're going out to eat dinner for the first time alone in eating disorder recovery, it's important to choose a venue where you know there are going to be several options on the menu that you would be able to eat. I don't think cutting it is the way to go. I knew before I went exactly what I wanted to have, but if any of the options, the burger, the fries or the shake had not been available, then I would have been able to pick at least 2 or 3 other things from the menu that I would have been perfectly happy to eat. And it's also important, I think, not to base the decision you make on calories. There were no calories on the actual menu, but it didn't even occur to me to look them up online. I think it's so important to go with your gut and choose whatever it is that you really want to have. It's so easy to get caught up in a menu and being completely paralyzed with indecision because you just cannot pick what to have. So whatever it is that you were first drawn to when you looked at the menu, go for that. It doesn't matter what the nutritional content of it is. You're out for a meal and it should be a treat even if you are on your own. So have whatever it is you damn well want. Another tip I would give, which I know I've mentioned before, is to pick a time and place where you are going to be more comfortable. So 7 p.m. on Valentine's Day is probably not going to be the best time to go out and eat alone. I said at the very beginning that since I'd been to Monterey Jack's the first time, I had been wanting to try this burger. And it's taken me months to do it because I kept putting it off because I didn't have anyone to go with. And then it occurred to me, well, just go on your own, Kaz. And that's the thing, if there's somewhere you're really wanting to try, go ahead and try it. Just because you're on your own doesn't mean you can't go in and have a perfectly delicious and pleasant meal. I think what I'm going to say next is probably going to be most relevant to people who have a tendency to binge. And that's to remember that portion sizes in restaurants and cafes tend to be larger than the portions you would serve yourself at home. So if you are full but you have not cleared your plate, don't feel forced to continue eating until that plate is clean. That is a behaviour that can become almost second nature, I think, if you have been inpatient on an EDU. I mean, God, in some places, they pretty much want you to lick your plate clean. Don't do that in a restaurant because you might get kicked out. You'll certainly get funny looks.
So messy, but so delicious. The bacon is just so crispy and salty and
It's important to make sure that you eat enough so that your hunger is satisfied and you're not restricting, but you don't want to eat to the point where you are uncomfortably full if this is something that is potentially going to trigger a binge. Don't be afraid to ask for a doggy bag because you have paid for that food. I know this is something on which advocates of the all-in method of recovery may well disagree. Now, I am not against all-in. I think all-in is amazing if you can do it. But if you are somebody who is prone to binging and or purging, the all-in method may not be appropriate for you. And only you can know that. And the only way you will know that is trial and error. I don't think it's just about binging and purging though. I think the all-in method, if you are completely by yourself, it's very, very difficult because you've got nobody there to encourage you or support you. And yes, okay, I'm doing these videos that I hope will encourage and support those of you who watch them, but it's no replacement for having an actual physical person who is there with you. I've watched several other food YouTubers who don't have an eating disorder and have never had an eating disorder, but they struggle to eat a meal out by themselves. Being completely honest, this video is the only reason I'm doing it. If I didn't have this YouTube channel, I still wouldn't have done it. But I think everyone should try it at least once. Most places are going to be happy to have your custom, whether you're by yourself or with a group of people. So don't let that put you off. And I would encourage anyone to try it if you've never done it before. Put it on your bucket list. I think these days you see people eating out in restaurants by themselves a lot more often than you would have done maybe even 10 years ago. I was actually not the only person dining alone when I went to film this, and it was quite reassuring to me to know that other people do it and I am not an anomaly. I will say this was a very different filming experience to any I've had before.
I'm eating quick.
The volume of the music meant I couldn't talk to you guys as much when I was actually eating as I normally would in this type of video. I also wasn't near a window, so that meant people watching was ruled out. They did have large video screens that were playing music videos, so I kind of ended up watching them most of the time. So every time you see me looking off and slightly up, it's because I'm looking at one of the music videos that's playing.
It's because I'm really hungry and this is really good.
I was actually way more anxious about filming in Monterey Jacks and whether or not the staff would let me do that than I was about the challenging meal that I was about to face. And the whole time I was in there eating, I didn't have any anxiety about the food or the milkshake. All the anxiety I was feeling was related to the fact that I was filming myself. Now, I'm not suggesting you film yourself to get over your anxiety about challenging yourself to having dinner out alone. I'm just trying to give you an idea of what the experience was like for me, and it will be different for every single person.
These are perfect. Fluffy inside, crunchy outside. And there's actually a lot more than it looks.
Eating out should be a pleasant experience. It's not something anybody should fear. It's a chance to have food that you might not prepare for yourself, and you don't have to cook it, and you don't have to do the washing up afterwards. So it's pretty much win-win all round, other than the fact I guess you have to pay for it, but there's always got to be a catch, hasn't there? Despite the loud music, this was an enjoyable experience. It would be more enjoyable without the camera, and I would certainly consider going back, probably without filming myself. And I think it's probably important that I do go back because there are several cocktails on that cocktail menu that I have not yet tried. No, in all seriousness, it's because I need to teach my brain there's nothing to fear, and it's a perfectly normal thing to do and a nice thing to do, and a thing that for so much of my life I've deprived myself of doing. This was my first time having dinner out by myself, ever. So that means I have got a lot of years of catching up to do, and I am definitely going to try and do this more often. Probably not as much as I would like to, with the cost of living going the way that it is, but if you're somebody in recovery from an eating disorder, I firmly believe that eating out is part of your recovery and part of your treatment, and a very important part of that. So if it's something that you can possibly do, then I would urge you to consider doing it. And you don't have to go to a restaurant and have a big meal. It could be a breakfast, a snack, a lunch, whatever, and maybe just once a month or once every couple of months as you can afford it. But I think it's really, really important that we learn that this is absolutely normal, it's absolutely fine, and it can actually be quite a nice thing to do for yourself. You may well find it easier to kind of practice. This sounds silly, but go with me on this, okay? It might be an idea to practice by having a takeaway at home so that you are having the challenging food in an environment where you are perfectly comfortable before you then go on to have it in an environment which will be less comfortable. That's something I didn't do with Monterey Jacks. I could have done because they do takeaway, and with the benefit of hindsight, I might have been a bit less anxious had I done that, but I really wanted my first experience of a burger to be in the restaurant when I knew it would be piping hot and absolutely fresh. So there we go.
I am stuffed, but this was so good. Thank you for watching. I'm just signing out while there's a lull in the music. I hope you'll come back for the next video.